Hello everybody. So I posed a question a couple of weeks ago if you all would like to see the rendition of my turtle cane shell in more of a rainbow color, because I had done this video quite a long time ago, close to when I first started making videos altogether. So the video quality was very poor, and I thought, well, I'm going to redo it anyway. But what would you guys be interested in more? Would it be a rainbow? And y'all overwhelmingly love the idea. So this week in A Moment to Art, I would like to show you guys how I made this. This was using literally 2 colors to make a blend, and so the rainbow will of course be more than 2 colors. That's just inevitable. But I figured out a way to kind of put them together. But I'm going to show you how to do it both ways, and so I wanted to show you guys 2 versions of even the rainbow cane, so you guys could decide on what you guys wanted to do personally with your cane. So originally when I made this cane, I made a fanfold blend, and so I'm going to show you guys the colors that I have in front of me for our rainbow are of course a blend of pastel colors. I create my own colors most of the time. I do use the neon, I think it's fluorescent pink they call it in Sculpey Primo, but I add some white to that so that it can kind of, you know, lighten it up. I also make my own purple just by adding a little bit of the dark Primo purple to white, and you get a nice little pastel color. I add white to all of the colors. The green, I add a touch of yellow. I love the sunshine yellow, I believe it is, in particular, but I also add white to the yellow as well, just to brighten everything up, because I like the pastel colors of a rainbow. Just my preference. If you guys want a darker rainbow, feel free to use whatever colors you want. If you want to use only 2 colors, then you'll get kind of more up the alley of this particular cane. But again, we're going to do this in rainbow. So I also have with this cane in particular, you can see that I used a dark purple, and I'm using Primo Sculpey colors. And this is, yeah, it's just called purple. I would think it would be called dark purple, but it is dark purple. But anyway, I use dark purple for the wrap around each of these components. And this time around, I'm going to use the Galaxy Blue Polymer clay from Sculpey Primo. I love this color. Now you'll notice I lightened it up personally because this is the color it actually comes. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but I'll turn this around so the light can kind of hit it from different angles. And you can see that I added some ultramarine blue to this because I wanted to brighten that up as well. So instead of just using the Galaxy Blue out of the package, I did add some ultramarine blue to brighten that up. Just add as much ultramarine blue as you like until it gets to the color that you like, and then just stop right there. I do have this set to a thickness of 3, and I'm going to set that to the side. Like I said, I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this cane. One way you will get this, the other way you will get it slightly different, but I think you're going to love both of the ways that this comes out. So I have in front of me, I believe it's a 1/2 ounce of each of these colors that I've created. If you have 2 ounces in a package, it should equal to just maybe over a 1/2 ounce. But not a whole ounce itself. So you can make as much or as little of this as you want. I'm going to be making more than just turtle shell canes. I'm going to be also making mushroom earrings, and I just love making rainbow items during the summer in particular. It's just that's my time to shine when I make rainbows, because I don't make rainbows year round, but I'm always inclined to start making rainbows this time of year. So we're going to start with what I originally used to create this turtle shell cane is this right here. And this is basically a tool that you usually can get from tinypandora.com, but right now she does not have any further. I do not believe that she's getting any more in. So I decided to opt out of using this particular tool. It's a lucite tool. It's square. I love using these. It's a bending tool for clay in particular, and it's got nice crisp, sharp edges. Not sharp, but you know what I mean. Very, very nice and calculating corners here. But I bought a set of these close to when I first started working with polymer clay. Tiny Pandora, particularly the lady who runs it, kind of inspired me to start making canes in the first place. So I have these tools, but I decided I'm going to use just a metal straw instead, because most of us can get a hold of this particular thing. A lot of us have them laying around the house. Do not use this for drinking after you used it on polymer clay. That's not recommended. Okay, so I have each of these laid out in the order that I want to do them in, as far as color coordinating if I was making a rainbow. But for this particular thing, we're going to separate our rainbow. I've found that in the past when I've wanted to make rainbow canes, I tend to use too much of the rainbow. So if you split the rainbow up into, say, 2 to 3 colors, as opposed to all of them, you get a better result, and more, your rainbow is more spread out, so you can actually see the pattern. So I highly recommend doing that instead of using all of the rainbow in one particular plug, you could say, which is the bottom row here. So we're going to start with our orange, our pink, and our purple. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cut 1/3 off right here and set that for later. We're going to do pink, orange, and a little bit of yellow to go with it. So now you have this set right here. And now another color that we're going to be making is our yellow, our green, and our blue. And that is our second row right there. Along with this is also our second row and our final piece down here. You can choose whether you want that to be the pink, orange, and yellow, or it can be the purple, pink, and orange at the middle. So you can decide in the end. So I'm going to cut to match this yellow and put these off to the side. So now I have that. And now for our last cane, which is green, blue, and purple. So I'm going to leave this on screen. If you need to save this for later so that you can remember what the color coordinates are, go ahead and screenshot this right here, because this will help you later on when you're putting this together of which, you know, so you don't have to watch the video again. Okay, so now that we have this, we're going to be blending each one of these into a plug, and we're going to wrap it with this. Now, again, you can use purple. I'm going to be using this ultramarine and Galaxy Blue mixture, and we're also going to be using our metal straw to create our indents. So I'm going to go and mix these together, and then I will be back after that. In order to make the blend the way I want, I'm going to be putting this through the pasta machine a minimum of 25 rounds through, just to make sure that blend is nice and smooth. Now, once I get to the end, to where I have the mixture blended, and you'll see me come back and show you that I'm going to put it through a different way and make it into a long rope, and then I will show you two ways to do this particular cane so that you can get a different outcome each time, but still use the same blends if you wish. So I will see you in a second. Okay, so from here, after everything is rolled out and there's a beautiful blend here on each one of these, now you're going to take each one of these and you're going to fold it and you're going to put it through your pasta machine. Not this way with all the colors, but this way. Okay, so I have both of these set to a thickness of 5 on my Atlas 150 pasta machine, and you'll see that one is drastically longer than the other, and you'll go, why do I have 2 pieces? I did not make 2 pieces because you need 2 pieces in your cane. I made 2 pieces to show you 2 different ways to do this. Now, in this cane, I fan folded the colors. In the cane that I'm about to show you, I'm going to make a bullseye cane instead, but I want to show you the process of both so that you can do either one, whichever one that you prefer. Now, the first one I'm just going to go ahead and pick up, and I'm going to fan fold it back and forth, little folds at a time. Be careful. Try to work the bubbles out. If you don't want to fan fold, like I don't typically like to fan fold my clay because I am really terrible at working the clay to where it doesn't get bubbles. So what I usually do is I cut slices and stack them, usually. But since I'm going to be, I already have a lot of this particular cane I have a lot of this particular cane. So I'm going to do a little bit of this, since I already have this one, and a lot more of this cane. But again, showing you two different ways to create your very own rainbow turtle shell polymer clay cane. I'm going to make sure that it's nice and tapped on both ends, just to make sure that they're even. And now I'm going to put that aside. Now for this one, I'm going to go ahead and make the orange my center and the purple my outside for this particular roll. So I'm going to start on this side. Okay, so now we have two canes fundamentally different here. Now with this one, we want our canes still to be round. So what you're going to do with this one is you're going to gently round off the corners on both sides, all four, just kind of squeezing towards each other until you kind of round off this cane. And you can press it down too if you need to. But you want to be able to roll this into a circle. All right, so now that we have both our canes, now like I told you, you're going to have more of this one if you use the amount of clay that I told you to. This is roughly probably maybe 1/3 of this amount here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these off to the side and go and start the others as well, so that you can see how I do each one and where the components all go. Alright, so now that you have all your canes made out, mind you, you only need one of each of these. I'm just having this many on here just to show you exactly what the setup and what the components will be to create the exact cane that you want. So, first thing we're going to do after you get your canes done is wrap each one of these in your preferred color. Like I said, I used purple for this one. I'm going to use the Galaxy Blue Ultramarine mixture on this one. I cut off the end just to make sure it's straight, and it just makes it easier to make sure everything is lined up properly. So grab each one of your canes, and I'm going to go ahead and cut away some edging here since we don't need that, all of that. I imagine I'm going to have to put this through my pasta machine here again just to have enough for everything. You won't need quite as much. Again, this is a thickness of 3. Okay, so now that we have everything wrapped up, I'm going to separate these and put them in their respective columns of which ones I'm going to use. So, okay, so this is what you would call the bottom floor, all right? And then the next floor is this yellow to blue, and then the next floor after that will be that one right there. And then this is an accent between here and the very top. So we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to put, no, this one right here. Yes, purple, pink, and orange. And then we've got this one and this one. Okay, so these are how they respectively go. Now, for the bottom floor, you need 3 1-inch pieces. So I'm going to reduce this piece to 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut it into those 3 pieces. Put those up there. And then the next one I'm going to pull is this one right here, which is the yellow to yellow, green, and blue. And you're going to need 3 pieces of this. So again, 3 inches. And does it matter if I had more of this cane than I had of this cane? Not really. You can make it work no matter what. It will, each difference that you make, I'm going to cut the ends off here to make sure that I have a nice clean cut of 3 inches here. Okay. You can make anything fit. It will look and change the way the cane goes together, essentially, the way it'll look at the end, but no, it doesn't matter. Okay, now your next cane will be the filler cane, and that was the yellow, orange, and pink cane. So I'm going to pull this out 3 inches as well. So So the filler pieces will go right here and at the bottom, okay? And then our last cane here, you're going to need 3 pieces. This cane is just a little bit large compared to all the other canes, so I'm going to stretch this out to a 4, and I'm just going to keep that extra piece for another project. You can kind of see when you're making a monster of a cane, just a little bit more than you need to. All right, so we have our pieces. As you can see, what you're going to do is, if you have a square one, go ahead and use a square. Otherwise, you can just use a metal straw. And the reason I use a metal straw as opposed to, say, a paintbrush or some other tool is because the straw is straight all the way across. There's no give, there's no bend. This goes from thick to thin, as does this, thick to thin. And so I want it to be even, so I'm going to use it this way. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start with your bottom pieces, and you're going to take those pieces. Now, if you look at this cane, you can see that the pieces go from purple to orange. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these to the side, each one of them, and make sure that the purple is to my left and the orange is to my right. And I'm going to, should probably clean up these ends so I can see properly. I should have cleaned up all the ends. Okay. Okay. So in order to make sure that this goes on both ends the same way in the entire cane, you're going to make a little indent where the pink is, and you're going to go on the other side and make another indent where the pink is. So now you should be able to see both sides there. Take your straw and just roll or rock or push gently, not too forcefully, into your cane so that it has kind of like an M look. You're going to do the same thing with all 3 pieces. Pink indentation on one side, pink indentation on the other. Sometimes you'll notice they don't line up so well, and that's why you put an indent on both sides to make sure that you do. Put these next to each other. Do the same thing with the 3rd piece. Indent on both the pink and the pink. Take your straw and gently rock that back and forth till you get a nice good indent on all 3 pieces. Okay, and then line them up. Now, you'll want to look at it to make sure you didn't flip a piece around accidentally. So purple to orange, just like that, okay? Now you're going to take the next pieces, which are your green or your blue to yellow, which is these pieces right here. Put these off to the side here. And now you're going to take these pieces and you're going to put the yellow down and the blue up on each piece. Yellow down, blue up. Move these over, lay these down. Again with the straw, indent the middle of the blue and go over and do the same thing on the other side so that you make sure you join them up properly. Now that you have your 2 indents, take your straw and rock those back and forth and do that on all 3. Now, if you want, you don't have to have this indent in the middle of the blue. You can flip it over and have the yellow. It's all up to you. Make sure that they're all indented very well. All right. And now you're going to take these pieces here and you're going to kind of squish them together. All right, and you're going to kind of make almost like a little heart shape. Make sure that as you're doing this, it doesn't splay out as you're doing that. So you have that. Place that right in the middle of the indent from the first, just like that. You can do the same thing with the other 2. All right, so this is what it should look like right now. Now you're going to take these two pieces, which are what I call my filler pieces, and you're going to put those two in between this one. You don't have to indent or do anything. Now, I chose to put the pink side down and yellow side up because there's already yellow along the bottom of here. Now, once you have those in there, you're just going to kind of push them together just a little bit, so that, and flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. All right, just push them in a little bit. Now we're going to our next stage, which would be our little green to purple, green, blue, purple. So for this one right here, we're going to put our indent yet again on the purple side, and we're going to bring the green downward. So we're going to put the indent just for two of these, not the third. For two of these, indent the purple and add that dip. Purple and middle, indent, and rock that back and forth. Now what you're going to do is you're going to put that together and put that as a point again, just like you did on the other. All right. So now I have that. Now, for this piece here, you're not going to put any indentation at all. What you're going to do is you're sit that purple side down and take these two on the side and put the green. Actually, wait a minute. You're going to put the purple side or the green side down on the round one. And then the green side tips upward right here. And just join that and work this into that direction. Now your last piece is your pink piece, and your pink piece, you're also going to figure out whether you want the pink out or the yellow out. That's totally up to you. I'm going to do with the pink or the can't tell on this one. You don't need to do any indentation at all if you don't want to, so I'm not going to, but I'm going to put the pink outward, which will be the very tip of our cane, our turtle shell cane. And just work this into a triangle, or a triangle. Now you are going to reduce this down until you get to this reaching about an inch in diameter. And it's best if you stuck with the middle as opposed to squishing the outsides. Just kind of push inward towards the desk. That's what I'm doing. And then I'm squeezing it as I go downward and flipping it. So I'm pushing in the middle, squeezing downward with my fingertips as I go down, and then maybe up again. And then I'll flip it over again and do the same thing over and over until I reach enough width in between that I can just kind of wiggle it and pull. And just kind of keep the ends here semi the same width as the middle. But don't focus on the ends, focus on the middle. Once you get the middle down, the ends will be easier to manage. I think I'm about 1.5 inches. Yep, almost an inch. I'm going to start out with this spot here. Ooh, it looks like sunshine. So this is what you get with doing it that way. And my middle's off a little bit, but you can line your middles up a lot better. I'm just showing you this pretty quick so that we can get on to the other one. I'm going to move this over. And as you straighten your cane out, as you line it up to where everything's even and crisp and your lines here are nice and straight, you'll be able to line your pieces up a lot better to where they line up when you put them together. Now, the next one I wanted to show you this way because this is more accurate to how I did the original cane. So all I did was use jelly rolls or bullseye canes to do this and added my indents to them. So let's go ahead and do that and see how this turns out, and see, you tell me which cane you like better. So again, we're going to start out with stretching each of these out so that we have our 3 components per color. So we're going to stretch these out and cut each one of these into 3 inches per plug, and I'll be right back. All right, now that we have all of these cut 3 pieces each, we got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, now we're going to take our straw, and this time you don't have to aim for any particular middle. You just have to aim for the middle of the whole piece itself. So I'm gonna add my indents pretty quickly this time, because this way you don't have to measure exactly where the middle is as far as the colors and which direction they go. All right, so now that I have those indented, except this one needs to be a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to stick these together. Take these pieces, make them a little ovally like that, so that just makes it so they fit in that little space a little easier. And then that's how it should look. Now you want to push those together. Make sure on both sides that you're pushing them together. Take 2 pieces, add indents to them, just like you did on the yellow to blue. All right, so now I'm going to put my round piece there, and I'm going to put these again. I'm going to put these upward. Now remember, you want this kind of together so that these hearts, or these shapes right here, kind of fit together to form the start of your triangle. And now for this last one, I'm just going to shape this into the shape that I want, which is a triangle, and fit that right on the top, and make sure that it fits both sides, that both of these tips are going into that direction. All right, so now again, reduce this till it's about 1 inch in diameter. All right, so it's pretty much near 1 inch, so we're going to go ahead and start cutting the edges off. Now again, I want you guys to tell me which is your favorite. Okay, so these are the 3 canes that I made that were inspired by, of course, the green cane that I made for a turtle. Now, these are all fabulous. Now, the main difference that you'll probably notice between this cane and this cane, because this one is supposed to be fairly identical if you put them together, is my blue was a little bit lighter in this one. Also, the middle, the part that goes on just before the last piece and the little pieces on the side, that was made into a teardrop instead of an oval. So if you'd like to do that, you can still do that, but the main difference is this is just more neon than this one is, in my opinion, and so therefore it didn't quite give off that. It's probably also the fact that this is wrapped in purple and this is wrapped in a dark blue, which gives off kind of a black effect. But I think when I cut these off into pieces, shown here, that it's really cool to see the glitter in between all the colors. in my opinion, I think that is well worth adding the blue. But I can always add glitter to my purple and do the same thing. So there's no glitter to that. That's just straight brightness. So which one is your favorite? I'll put A for the very first one I did. And that's the one that I showed you guys in the picture for this tutorial, A. B is the one that I showed you today, the very first cane I made. And then C is the last one where I made everything into bullseye canes, as opposed to, this is the fanfold. These two are fanfolds. And then this one is a bullseye cane instead of using the fanfolds. And personally, I really like the fanfolds. I think altogether, I think if I was going to do this again, I wouldn't do the bullseye canes. I would just do the fanfolds. I think they're beautiful the way it turns out, everything stacked on and being able to park that in different directions and the components that are going with that. It does take a little bit more time in my opinion, but anything that's worth doing that looks nice will take you a little bit more time. So let me know in the comments which one's your favorite and which color that you would like to wrap your tortoiseshell cane in. Do you like the purple? Do you like blue? Would you use a different color altogether? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this tutorial. I thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, taking the time and spending it with me for this tutorial. This is Jen with A Moment to Art, and I hope you guys join me again. Hopefully here in 2 to 3 weeks I will have another tutorial up for you. If you would like to see how I would use these making turtles and mushrooms, feel free to like and subscribe to my Facebook group, which is A Moment to Art. That is A Moment, the number 2, Art. And it is a closed group, so feel free to ask to join and I will get to you. But I do live tutorials in there all the time, and that's probably what I'm going to do for that group next. So if you'd like to see these used in a tutorial, definitely join A Moment to Art. See you guys later and have a great day. Bye.